everyone, it's Tara. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with a book tag. I can't remember the last time I filmed a tag video. It's been a while and I really love doing them. So I decided that I was going to do the finally fall book tag because it is finally fall. Today is the first day of fall. I saw this tag. I've seen a few people like posting it. I've seen people post it in previous like fall, autumn times. And I decided I was going to do it because why not? So let's get into the questions. So question one, and sorry, I'm going to be reading these. So, cause they're like very lengthy, like descriptive questions. So don't mind me while I'm looking down and reading. So it says, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. So for that, I chose The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. I just remember reading this last year, I think. Yeah, it was last year. And just the way that she describes the setting of Alaska, it was like you could just see everything. It was very descriptive. I loved this book. I think I ended up giving it, it was between 4 or 5 stars. I think I gave it 5 stars though. But like just the way that she describes everything, you could picture it so clearly in your mind, and I really enjoyed it. Plus, look at these fall colors, like very fall-y. It's not specifically set in fall, it just reminds me of fall. Question 2, nature is beautiful, but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written, but also deals with a heavy topic. So the book that I ended up choosing, like I was going to choose something completely different. And then I looked at my bookshelf and I was like, oh my gosh, how can I not think, like, how did this book not even like come to my mind? And that is Room by Emma Donoghue. It's been probably 5 or 6 years since I've read this. I recently watched the movie that has Brie Larson in it, but I remember reading this, and it deals with a very heavy topic. It deals with a woman or a teenager who is abducted and then gives birth to a son who is the son of her kidnapper, and raises him. And it's told kind of through the perspective of the boy, Jack. Yeah. And like Jack only knows the inside of this room, which is like a shed or something, in like the backyard of this guy's house. And I loved this book. Like I said, it's been a few years since I read it, but I remember like I was crying. It was like, I think it was so well written, and I probably need to do a reread of it soon. So very heavy topic. Like it's not like an easy read, but it was so good, and I recommend it if you haven't checked this out. Question 3. Fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. So I don't read nearly as much nonfiction as I should. And most of the nonfiction that I read tends to be like biographies or about like a time period in history. But there is another topic that I love reading about, and that is wine. And I read this book, Wine Isn't Rocket Science, a couple of years ago, and I learned a lot about one of my favorite things. It talks about like wine pairings, like different wines and where they're made, like how to know like what good vintages are, things like that. And you know, it was educational. I enjoyed reading it. It's not like a, sit down and like super cozy read, but I remember reading it and learning a lot about wine, which is one of my favorite things. So I'm gonna go with this. All right, question 4. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you'd like to be a part of. I think most people would probably say like something related to Harry Potter, because like who wouldn't? But I have a different answer, just because I thought Harry Potter was like an obvious one that everyone would choose. So I'm going to say, this might not come as a surprise if you've watched my channel for a little bit, but I'm going to go with Lake Eden and Hannah Swenson and her family and her friends, because they're I don't know, I just love reading about them. Like these books, they're not like the greatest like literary masterpieces of all time, but I love Hannah Swenson and like Lisa, who own the like cookie shop together, and Hannah's sisters Michelle and Andrea, and her mom Dolores, and I love the gang in the Hannah Swenson series. I mean, that's really all I can say about it. They're just fun. Like, they're just fun to be around. And Andrea's daughter Tracy, so Hannah's niece, she cracks me up. She's so smart and like kind of precocious, and I like it. So yeah, if you are looking for like a light, easy, cozy mystery series to read, I highly recommend this one. There's like, I don't know, a lot of books in the series though, so it's a feat. I think there's like 25 or something. So it's a task, but they read really quickly, and you'll come to love Hannah. She's a lot of fun. All right, question 5. The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. All right, I just grabbed some off of my shelves. So we'll go with this. Got some reds, some oranges, some yellows, some browns, because they all end up looking like this. So yeah, and I have read 3 of the 4 of these, which I think is pretty impressive. And I just got this like a couple months ago. So yeah, here's my fall colored spines. Question 6. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein someone is telling a story. So I've mentioned this, I think, a couple of times on my channel, but I do not like reading books that have like a story within the story. And I don't really know why. Like, I feel like when there is like a story within a story, I focus too much on like, what do I need to remember about this story, because an author wouldn't put it in the book if it wasn't important. And I get like so caught up in that, I like lose focus, and just it like, I don't know. I just don't love it. It's not like my favorite thing in books. However, there is one book or series that the entire story basically is a story within a story. And within that story, there are other stories. And I really enjoyed it. And that is Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, or the Kingkiller Chronicles series in general. I mean, there's only one other book, The Wise Man's Fear, out currently. But in this book, Kavoth owns like a pub thing. There's a better word for it that I can't think of right now. And he is telling his story as to how he became the king killer to like basically a biographer. And so the entire story is him telling his story. But then within his life story, there are other stories that make up this story. And it didn't bother me in this. I don't know why it didn't bother me in this, but it didn't. Question 7. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. So I love like thriller type books. I also love books that have a little bit of like a paranormal element. So 2 that I've really enjoyed. Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. This definitely has some like paranormal elements to it. It's kind of about like a haunted house. Really enjoyed this. It got a little bit creepy at times. I couldn't always read it at night. Then I also really enjoyed The Whisper Man by Alex North. Same thing. This, like, it wasn't like as like paranormally as Home Before Dark, but I feel like it had like some creepy elements where you're like, is this like possibly paranormal? And it was a little bit creepy as well. There were some really creepy scenes in this one too. So yeah, both of these. Question 8. The days are getting colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up someone's cold and rainy day. So I have a few. I don't own any of these, but I have a few that I'm going to mention. First is Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. I just read that like earlier this month. I thought it was so cute. It was such a quick read. It's about 2 friends that have like worked at this pumpkin patch all all through high school and stuff. And it's their last night at the pumpkin patch before they go off to college, and they're just spending it together, and it gave me all sorts of fun fall vibes. I also want to say the Heartstopper series by Alice Oseman, also a graphic novel, also really good, quick, super heartwarming. The relationship in that series I love. So both of those. Question 9. Fall returns every year. Name an old favorite you would like to return to soon. So for that, I'm going with my favorite book ever, Little Women. I used to read this like every Christmas time. It gives me more Christmassy vibes than like fall vibes, but I haven't read it in a while, and I want to reread it this year, probably around Christmas time. But it's just, I love this. I love the sisters. I love everything about this book, and I'm going to reread it this year for sure. All right, and the last question, question 10. Fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. So we keep our house like pretty cool year round because it costs a lot of money to heat our house, and both of us don't like sleeping when it's really hot in the house. So we keep our house pretty cool at all times. So I always have a blanket. This is not necessarily the blanket I have. This is just the blanket that was closest. My Houston Texans blanket, because I'm a Houston girl and gotta support my team. But I always have a blanket. Typically I have at least one dog with me, sometimes all three, most of the time all three. So here are my pups. And then I typically have a candle burning. My favorite fall scent is Leaves from Bath & Body Works. I love it. Then I either have a glass of wine or like a cup of coffee, my Hufflepuff mug. This fall, I definitely won't be drinking this because I'm preggers and I can't, which is slightly depressing, but I'll take one for the team because I want this baby more than I want wine. Coffee or some hot beverage. I guess it's going to be like hot chocolate or something this year. I don't know. I haven't figured out what my fall drinking while reading beverage is going to be this fall because, yeah, both of the stuff I typically drink, I can't necessarily drink at the moment. That is the Finally Fall book tag. I'm not going to tag anyone just because this tag has been around for a long time. If you want to do it, go for it. I tag you. But yeah, that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy reading. Bye.